What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to start off by saying that I did record a couple of different videos on my iPad, but for some reason my internet is not allowing them to upload, so I don't really know what's going on for that. If you guys know why, please comment down below. So I know it's been over a week, I think, since I've even posted anything, but I did record 2 different videos, and like I said, I had trouble uploading them. But, I kind of had to take a break from everything for a little bit. I actually broke away from my diet for a couple of days, took a break away from exercising, kind of just focused on work a little bit and, like, my mental health, which I think is super necessary, you guys. That's part of my channel, is I want to encourage you guys to just find a little bit of a balance with everything in your life. Take some time to yourself. It's okay to have boundaries and need to kind of take a step back. And sometimes we just need to be alone and not do anything. Like, sometimes just sitting at home for a day is some of the best medicine that you could do for yourself. So today I actually wanted to talk about a couple of different things that have happened to me in the last week. So one of the experiences that happened was I left an atheist speechless the other day. So I'm at work and I had one of my coworkers come up and we were talking kind of about my YouTube channel, and then he had made a comment like he doesn't believe in God or whatever, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, you probably wouldn't like my channel because I talk a lot about God, in all of my videos. And he goes, can I ask you a question? And I said, sure. He goes, let me just point out the fact that if there is a God, that he is the most unjust, unkind, cruelest, blah, blah, blah. The list went on and on. And as he's saying these things, it made me really, really upset, because now that I am so close to God, those kinds of things offend me. When you talk badly about my God, it's offensive to me. And it hurts my heart, honestly. So he's saying these things, and then he, got to his point. He said, because there's so many little kids that suffer, and so many little kids that go through these horrible, terrible diseases or die these terrible deaths. And, he's just going through all these things. And then he goes, I would give my life so that none of those kids ever had to suffer again. And he just said, explain that one to me. And so, of course, I'm like kind of upset inside. And I start thinking, what's an effective way to respond to this? Anybody could just say anything that first comes to their mind, but that's part of being tactful, is you want to really, say something that's going to be effective. Now, telling somebody, well, your very life is a blessing, that's not really going to reach them. It's not going to make them internalize that and really think about it. So I did a lap around my work, and I went and checked on my tables, and then I came back, and it was literally like Jesus was using me as a vessel. And I, without even thinking, just said, well, it's all part of God's plan, you see. I said, people's pain and these children's pain is teaching other people to be compassionate. Without seeing that pain or experiencing that pain, you couldn't look in from a loving perspective and be compassionate, be empathetic, be loving, feel that sadness for that other person. Now, something just to think on for a second is, if everything was perfectly blissful all the time, you wouldn't have those emotions. Does that make sense? If everything was peaceful and happy, the only emotion that you would ever have was peace and happiness. So if you look at it from that perspective, when you incorporate pain, trials, sacrifice, all those emotions are coming from a greater, higher, loving place. So someone that's atheist can have all of these feelings of, like I said, compassion and empathy and sadness for another human. Those feelings inside him were nothing but pure, nothing but kind. So, A, where do those thoughts and those feelings and emotions come from? And B, he wouldn't be experiencing those thoughts, feelings or emotions without seeing somebody else's pain. Does that make sense? So it literally, when I said that, he had no response. He was kind of just like internalizing, like really thinking about what I had said. Because I'm like, you like to think that there's no God out there, but where do those feelings come from, you guys? And I've said it before in another video that the biggest giveaway that there is a God is your thought process and your emotions. I mean, science can put a definition, well, two humans, can make a baby, and then the mother, obviously feeds her body and goes through this process where then she has the baby, right? That's science can like define that. Science cannot put a definition on human emotion. They can't tell you where love comes from. They can't tell you where emotion comes from. And that brings me to my next point, you guys. Kindness has a name. Grace has a name. Hope has a name. Love has a name. All of these things have a name. And that name is Jesus Christ. And it's making me really emotional because it's so true. People, they want like a dead-proof sign that there is a God when it's all around you and it's inside of you all along. You just have to look for it. Have you ever been lovesick? Where it just consumed you and your heart hurt and your feelings and these emotions. Where does that come from, you guys? That comes from somebody. That comes from somewhere, and it comes from something. And that is the Lord. That is God. All of those things that we feel come from God. Like I've said in another video too, if you lived 1,000,000 years in perfect harmony, don't you think at some point you'd be like, I want to experience, something else? Don't you think that you would get restless at some point? That's just like rich people that buy all these bags every month and then they keep wanting a more bag and wanting another bag and you keep wanting. So don't you think that if you only experience perfectness all the time, that you would at some point be like, I kind of want to experience this? Why do you think people start doing drugs? They want to experience something. They want to know what it's like to feel that. So think of that in the afterlife when we're in heaven, you guys. We could go millions of years up in the spiritual world and have millions of years of perfect harmony. And then psychologists have even put this into philosophy, is if you experience that for so long, at one point you would want to experience something different, something painful, something bad, just to see what it feels like. So hope has a name. Your emotions have a name. Love has a name. Those things have a name and a definition, and scientists can't ever figure it out because they're looking on the wrong path. It's been there all along, and it's in the Bible. It's all around us, you guys. Now, my next point that I wanted to talk about this week, that something that happened was at work again. Another example was, I kind of just started my job, and these guys were kind of, trying to kind of pick my brain on like my dating life, to be perfectly like honest. And I had made a comment and I said, I'm wanting to wait until, I'm married to be intimate with somebody again. And they're like, no freaking way, And I'm like, I'm being serious. Like, I'm not kidding. Like, I am not just going to give that to anybody. And that is another reason why the Bible is a wonderful thing to read, you guys, because it kind of guides you. It helps you live a good life and teaches you things. I mean, the Bible does say that you shouldn't be intimate with someone until you're married. Now, have I done that? Absolutely. I'm not going to say that I'm a virgin. I'm not going to say that. I have a child. I've definitely had my fun in my 20s. Like I said, I'm not perfect. I haven't always lived a perfect life. My relationship with God has gone like this, where it's gone in, it's gone out, it's been up, it's been down. So, but I had said that, and these people were like, no way, blah, 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 and I said, yeah, I'm a Christian woman. Once again, they made a mockery. They thought I was joking. I said, you guys, I'm really being serious. And then they were kind of like, And I'm like, yes. And I said, I go to church every Sunday. And the same guy is just like, you do not. Almost like it was like unfathomable. And not only was it offensive, but it was just really surprising, because then when I stood my ground and I stood by my faith, it was weird. It was kind of like they all took a step back and were like, oh, okay, well, I mean, yeah, that's really, really awesome. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It is really amazing. And I mean, I'm never going back at this point. So this all has a point. So, I'm realizing that when you stand with God and really with Him, that certain people are going to be set back by it. Some people aren't going to believe it or question it or not understand. And, I was thinking to myself, because I've had a hard time making girlfriends. I've kind of said that too in my other videos. And the people that I'm reaching out to, I would love to be more involved in my church and get to know more people in my church community. That would mean a lot to me. But it's not really happening. And I know maybe that'll come with time. Maybe it will, maybe it won't. So, I've been thinking on that exact topic for the last week, how, wow, I'm really trying to like get involved with these girls that are in the church and, like make friends with them and stuff, because now that I feel like I'm a Christian, I want to be friends with other Christians. But what's interesting, what God had told me during that time that I was meditating on this issue was, yeah, it's an amazing feeling to relate to people that are on like-minded like you when it comes to their faith with me. However, how more amazing is it to be the one person that stands out in faith amongst unbelievers? And I was shooketh. He literally told me that. How amazing was it the other night when you were speaking about God? Nobody knew really like that you were being serious. And when you actually showed them that you were being serious about your faith, how empowering and amazing. And it made me feel so good to stand up for my faith and for my belief. Made me feel amazing. And I wasn't being aggressive with any of it. I didn't start the conversation. They did. And so it was funny, just like being able to stand up for God and for what is right in a crowd of unbelievers is the most amazing feeling, you guys. And I guess you would just have to experience that firsthand to really know what I'm talking about. But it was just strange because I'm, like I said, wishing I had more friends in the church community. But how more amazing is it to almost be like Jesus in this sense, where you're speaking the word to unbelievers. It's a super, super rad feeling. Now, another thing that had happened this week was, the other day I was supposed to have the day off. So I go and I meditate in the morning and I go to the gym and I'm taking my time because I'm thinking I have the whole day off. And then I get a phone call and a friend had asked, can you cover the shift for so-and-so tonight? And I was like, yeah, sure, that's fine. I need the money anyway. So, then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I got to work at 5. So, there's half of my day, whatever. I've already spent all morning lollygagging around. And then I had my other girlfriend say, hey, can you help me go drop off my rental car over, out in Kahului? So, I'm kind of like, I was like, yeah, of course I can. But of course inside I'm kind of huffing and puffing. And I'm like, man, I was supposed to have this like day off and, go enjoy myself, which I've been needing to because work has been exhausting. But anyways, so I'm like huffing and puffing under my breath, like, man, I don't, I wish. And I realize like you're being selfish right now. You're literally thinking about yourself. What would Jesus do? And Jesus is like, you know what you should do. You should help your friend. Sacrifice happens in life and you have to do it, and it would be doing her a favor. So like I said, I was kind of like huffing and puffing under my breath. So I go and I help her, and then, I go home and I had to get ready for work, and there was my day and I go to work. But what had happened that night at work was I felt like God was like, I'm proud of you. Thank you for doing that. Good job for making the right decision, and not being selfish. And my whole night at work was amazing. I had nothing but wonderful customers. I made really good money that night. And at one point, I was putting in my tip from a credit card, and I literally just thought about Jesus, and I was like, thank you. Like, this is you giving me like my good karma for being a good person today, in a sense, and like I said, even though I was tired and I wanted to go to the beach and enjoy my day, I ended up sacrificing my day off for other people. But it was weird. It was just like something that I felt like I moved up another level towards Jesus, like where he was just like, I'm proud of you for listening and doing the right thing. So God will reward you, you guys. And that little voice inside, like I said, he's there. If you feel like you think a bad thought and then you have something where you're like, man, I shouldn't be thinking that. Or you hear the type of a thing, like, don't say that, or don't think that, or don't do that. That's not just your second sense, you guys. That's Jesus communicating with you. That's wrong. You shouldn't do that. Instead do this or whatever. So when you have a conscience, you guys, a lot of people like to take accountability for that. They like to think that that's all them. Oh, well, I made the right decision today, or, I did this today. Oh, I'm going to pat myself on the back. You're not giving thanks to the correct person and the people that are actually really guiding you, which is God, Jesus, and your angels. Those are the voices in your head that tell you when something is wrong or you shouldn't do something. So, and then another thing that I'm going to close with that happened with me this week was I made really good friends with this homeless guy that I always see outside of my gym. His name is Laquan. And the other day I went to give him some money. I pulled up beside him, and I've said hi to him before, and he's always, oh, hi, beautiful. And so I had $2, and it was weird because Jesus spoke to me. And, I've been struggling for money recently. And he said, okay, this was the day that I was washing my car. So, like I said, the car wash or whatever, or the vacuum is right outside of my gym. So anyways, I just had a couple of dollars to vacuum my car out. And Jesus goes, I know you're struggling. I'm not saying to put yourself in a bad place, but whatever extra dollars that you have extra, give to him. And so I was like, that's not terrible. It's just a couple, and literally I had $2. That's all I had left over. I'm like, I can sacrifice $2. And Jesus wasn't telling me to give all of this money, just a little bit. And so, I vacuumed my car out, and like I said, I had a couple of bucks. And so I pull up next to him. I'm like, hey buddy, how's it going? And I put my arm out and I have the $2 in my hand. And he reaches for my hand, and instead of taking the money, he kisses my hand. And I'm like, what's your name? And he says Laquan. And I'm like, I'm Brianna. How are you? And I just felt compelled. So, I had pulled over, like I said, to talk to him. And I put my car in park. And then I just, I talked to him for about 10 minutes. And, he's really, really smart. He's one of those people I feel like he has so much that he wants to say that it's hard for him to kind of like get it out and put it into like a sentence. So, long story short, I had a really good talk with him, and I actually made a lot of eye contact, and I wanted him to know that I was trying to build a friendship with him, and I genuinely wanted to get to know him. And at the end of us kind of talking, I just said, hey man, do you mind if I say a little prayer for you? And he was like, yeah, sure. And so I grab his hands, and he bows his head, and we both closed our eyes. And I just, prayed for him about how I asked Jesus to look after him and send his angels to watch over him and give him a sense of comfort and peace and help him with whatever he needed. He said he wanted to go home, I think to New York, to visit his mom or something. And so I had prayed about that. And then at the end I said, in Jesus' name, amen. And he said, amen. And he goes, that was really beautiful. Thank you. And I just felt so amazing that I had built a friendship. It meant so much to me to know that I had made him feel wanted and validated for just a minute. And it literally took maybe 10 minutes out of my day, you guys. I felt so good after that. And I just gave him the warmest hug. And I didn't automatically, you know, when people just give you a hug really fast, like, no, I actually really embraced him and I held on to him for a minute. Just like, man, I wanted my love to just flow into him. Like, I care about you. And he's just the sweetest guy. And I just felt like Jesus was just so happy with me after that. And I just had this fullness in my soul and in my heart. And I've seen him a couple of times since then, and I will go out of my way to walk up to him and hug him. And like I said, I actually hug him and I hold on to him, and I just want him to know that he has me. You know, even if he doesn't have anybody else, he has me. And that anytime he sees me, he can always say hi to me. I will always make time for him. I'll always say hi, you know, and always give him a warm hug and let him know, like, I'm here for you, buddy. I care about you. So those are just some things that happened to me this week. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment on this video, like it, you know, give it a thumbs up if you liked it. And subscribe to my channel so you can hear more things about just how I'm interacting with people. I'm really trying to make a change through my actions and not through just talking about it. I want to be about it. So, yeah, I hope you guys like this, and I hope you're having a wonderful day.